Going live, Big Daddy.
Okay.
Welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast, bringing you fishing tips, gear reviews, tournament news, and more. Featured guests from all over the nation. Now, 1 hour of live streaming via Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Here's your host, John Rapp.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome to episode 21 of season 2 of the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Going to be a good conversation on a topic that all of us are like to talk about and share with people, because customer service is a pretty big thing. Before we get into the meat and bones of the episode tonight, I want to share the event with you that you guys, most of West Virginia is already aware of, but it's this here. Mount Nebo Tractor Bar, Mount Nebo, West Virginia, the Wvka West Virginia Kayak Anglers' second live event of the season is this Saturday. So it is on Tourney X. You can sign up, and you do not have to be a member of our club. So if you're interested in fishing Summersville Lake or the Gauley River this Saturday with our club, and you have questions, reach out to me and I'll answer your questions. If I'm not available, I'm sure Greg Kupfner, our managing director for our club, would be more than willing to answer any questions that you have. So, yeah, it's a 5 bass score, best score, 5 bass. Minimum length is 8 inches. So go check out our information on our Facebook page. So, but anyway, next thing I wanted to talk to you about is a Twitter. Getting some good feedback on my Twitter page here, so make sure you guys go in there and hit subscribe and like and follow. Appreciate all the love that I've been getting the past few days on that, and I share information on kayak fishing and this show there on the Twitter page. So anyway, you can hear those tools in the background as the Mad Kitchen is operational, and that would be our good friend Chris Payne. So let's do our intro here, and we'll bring on Chris, and maybe we can talk a little bit about some stuff here. So. There he is, Chris Payne in the house. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, John?
Good. So Rick Garavalia, thank you for sharing the show, liking. But Joe Starrett, thank you, sir. So what you got? I could hear those trays in the background working hard. What was you working on? Greg Marshall, thank you, buddy.
We're pouring up some baits, getting ready for a team tournament that's going to happen this weekend. There's actually 2 different tournaments that are going on that I'm fishing. I'm fishing a team tournament with my buddy Trevor Davis out of San Antonio, and then an individual tournament also at the same time. And so we're in full swing with the shad spawn right now down here, which is our primary forage for a lot of these bass until the summer months when they start eating bluegill. And so I've been developing some smaller shad baits to be able to kind of mimic these big bait balls, because quite frankly, these bass, they know what they want, and when there's a million of them out there, you better look somewhat like them or you're gone.
Yeah.
So been working on that, and have some stuff mixed up that I think is pretty cool. And then we've got some kind of bluegill looking baits that we've also been messing with. Probably the thing I'm going to throw in the shad spawn is this little dude right there. So this is a smaller fluke, right? That's a 3.75 inch fluke on a Roadrunner head, so it's like a miniature underspin.
Right.
But the shad that I'm seeing in these schools, because they'll float up. So if you spend enough time watching bass kill a shad spawn, and you pay attention, some of the shad will float up, and you can see the size of them, and then you match your bait size to the size of those shad that are getting hit, and you're going to be a lot more successful. If you throw, a giant swim bait through there, you're not going to do very well.
No.
And so that is right at the size of those shad. So I'm making a bunch of those, and it doesn't come through super well on the camera because of the lighting and everything, but these have some holographic pearl in them, and they hit the sunlight and they just shine just like the side of a shad. So that's what I'm working on. I've got Rick posted he was using the riblet some of his last event there, and that's what that guy is. That's a 4-inch, and they're a little bit fat, so they can take a bigger hook really well. They can take a flipping hook, or on a jig or something like that.
Hey, yeah, and that's something you're talking about doing a team tournament. I was watching Randy Newton and the Florida guys do their podcast last night, and they're tinkering with teams. No, that's the thing. When I created West Virginia Kayak Anglers 5 seasons ago, that was how we started. It was our theme.
Yep.
Was two-man teams was the whole
Yep.
idea, and your best 10 fish, and you still get the fish as an individual in the individual series of events that are going on, but you have the opportunity to capitalize and pay in 2 pots and collect from 2 pots, fishing one tournament, one location, and all it is, and it's not like you're infringing on a different tournament. It's one tournament. It's just different ways to capitalize on that tournament by fishing with a team member. So,
Yep.
yeah, I'm going to feed those boys some information down in Florida so they can start that down there. Hopefully,
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a good way to get to know somebody. If you're so we used to do draw tournaments where you wouldn't know who you were fishing with till the morning of. And then you had about 30 minutes to game plan and go get to your ramps. And so those can be a lot of fun to get to know people, especially if you're in a club that has a lot of members where not everybody knows everybody. So that's a good way to do that. And then, like Trevor, I've known Trevor for a while. We fished against each other quite a bit last year. And he was like, "Hey, there's this tournament coming up that All Star is doing, and do you want to fish it with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And it's been fun, for the last couple of weeks, texting back and forth and be like, "Hey, I'm seeing this with the weather. Hey, I'm thinking about this. Hey, I'm thinking about this," and kind of game planning it. The strategy is a fun part to me. And the forecast has changed like 6 times in 6 days, and so it's we're trying to plan for bluebird skies, 96 degrees and 25-mile-an-hour winds right now.
Ooh.
So
Hey,
it's gonna be interesting.
Garrett Hott, are you coming to Summersville this weekend? If you are, I got paperwork and boxes for you. So, hey Chris, before we get into customer service, well, it's part of customer service, but it's all about, and we're trying to keep this kayak fishing related, but it's that time of the year where information is starting to drop, products are starting to drop. You're getting
Yeah.
lead up to iCast. Hey, Jonathan Cart. So, I see that you did a video recently on the new crate from Yak Attack. So give us your feedback on that.
Yeah, so it's the Black Pack Pro. I've got 2 different videos out. I've got a 23-minute video that basically walks you through step by step the instructions as I follow them the first time I ever saw them. So basically, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You just follow the instructions. But I know a lot of people don't read instructions, or they throw them away, and they could potentially get in a bind. So that video is out there to walk them through what the instructions are. So if they get lost, they can figure out how to do that. I thought that might be helpful for some folks, and so I decided to do that. So my thoughts on that crate. I was pleasantly surprised at how much it held. I think I was a little bit of a doubter because I had the original Black Pack and my Plano 3700s. I've actually got the pack right here. My Plano 3700s did not fit in it, so that's a big box, right?
Sure is.
But the original Black Pack had those ledges, and so you had to like do this kind of noise, and you couldn't fit very many of them in them. This new platform, they slide straight down in and back up, and they're big enough. The crate platform is big enough to where you can stack them like this, you can stack them like this, you can stack them like this, however is best for you. Nice. I also really appreciate that it's very modular. So I have mine set up long ways to where it opens up and everything is rowed out. But you can stack them vertically as well and have the crate go long with your tank well. And you can install the hinges wherever you want to install the hinges. That's the cool thing about it.
Nice.
Is, with the other crates on the market, it's already predetermined whether it's a vertical or a horizontal box. With the Yak Attack, the Black Pack Pro, it's completely modular. Like where you install that lid with the hinges, up to you. Where you install your rod holders, up to you. The entire panel. It'll be easier if I just grab it, probably. So
yeah, it's there.
Kind of shows up. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So this entire
Randy.
panel has screw bosses in it, right? And so what you do with those screw bosses is they can take a screw in any one of those holes. Let me flip this around. So every one of these holes on here can take a screw, basically, anywhere you see a hole. So it is completely modular. There are guys that you can add more rod tubes to it. If you want more rod holders, you can add anything that you can screw down, basically, you can add to this guy, which is really cool. I love the latch, the fact that you can latch it down and it stays snug. So if you flip and it's tethered down, it's great. It's got all the connection points. The rod tubes have they're called tether tubes because they have these included bungees with hooks on them, so you can hook them to your rods and reels and not have to do an aftermarket. Or
Nice.
if you don't want them attached to it, you can just flip it over and it hooks into the side. Like it's very well thought out. I wouldn't expect anything else from Luther and John. It's a long time coming. I do like the outside carry handles. They've got connection points for hooks, bungees, straps, all the different things that you would want. The thing that I probably, I think the thing that I probably like best about it is it is well manufactured, right? So the other stuff that the other crates that I've had that are assembly crates and things like that, they have potentially hinge issues. They have, a lot of metal parts that can potentially rust out. these are all, I don't know that 3D printed is the right word, but they're all poly, right? And so you can fish it in the salt, in the surf. You can fish it, wherever you're going with it, and your hinges are not gonna, just totally destroy themselves. You've got some bolts that are in there, which are easily replaceable, but your hinge is in essence the bolt. It's not just a piece of metal that's stuck in there. So super versatile. I think the 16 by 16 that's coming out later this summer would probably be too big for what I need. The 13 by 16 is plenty big for the footprint that I need. I've got, well, let me see how many boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 of those Plano 3700s in here, and 2 of them are the super large boxes. So I've got 2 of these in there that carry cranks and topwaters and swim baits and stuff like that. So it's got a ton of storage. You can add additional storage. I've seen guys add tackle webs to the outside of it because there's so many connection points, and they're like, well, I like a little pocket that I can hide stuff in. It exceeded my expectations. Are there things I would change? Maybe a couple, but I want to fish it some more on the water. I've had it out for about 8 hours. I want to fish it this weekend pretty hard, and then I'll make a kind of a final determination and do a full review on it once I figure out, a couple more things. But overall, really good.
I got you. Hey, Greg Harper, thanks for joining in. Kyle, hey, what's going on, buddy? I'm not for sure what's going on with the Facebook signal. I just looked at my. It does say that we're dropping frames, but I'm not for sure why, because my upload and download is extremely fast. So it could be something on the Facebook side of things. But guys, thanks for tuning in, and we appreciate you tuning in with us. So I'm going to jump over here. I'm going to show the guys something here, Chris, while you're messing in the background on customer service and what that is. So. All right, so this is the I wanted to make sure that when we had an idea of what customer service is and how customer service works, because it's not something that when you buy something and you call and talk to somebody about the product, but it also, customer service is inside the company, because like if I work for Payne Outdoors and Chris and I'm part of the shipping department and he's part of the manufacturing, he may be yelling at me and say, hey man, I need these shipped out tomorrow, and I'm like, well, I can't do it. Well, you still got to work together, and that's what customer services is working together. But right there on the screen, it is a description. This is from Indeed. It's a skill set, basically, and you use it all the time. So now here's some of the skill sets that's involved: communication, empathy, patience, technical knowledge, etc. Okay, so I mean, just take us a moment. I mean, I'm not going to read it for you, so all you podcast listeners out there, you take a gander at what customer service skills are. So, but guys, give me your feedback and thoughts and stuff like this. Thanks, Greg. But let's bring Chris back on the screen, and maybe him being a business owner, he can talk a little bit about how it works for him. So, Chris, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. So, customer service is something that as a consumer and as a business owner are important. I think for any business owner, you want the opportunity to make something that has not gone right. And as a consumer, I will give you the opportunity to make it right. However, understand that is an expiring transaction. I have a lot of people that will email and ask different questions, different things like that,
Right.
regarding baits, and hey, can you do this or can you do this? And overwhelmingly, kind of one of my go-tos is every email answered within 24 hours. Has to be. Period.
That's good practice. Good practice.
And what I see overwhelmingly through feedback is that's not the case for a lot of people, because there are so many people. Wow, thank you for getting back to me so quickly. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That in turn, I expect that as a consumer to be responded to, because what that indicates to me is importance, right? And so I value every one of my customers, whether they're ordering for the first time with me or ordering for the 54th time from me. I value them all, and I don't want it to be a situation where there is a perception that once I have your money, I don't care about you. Right? I want you to pay, and I want you to come back because you had such a good experience. And so what I have to do, understanding that there is no business that's 100% perfect, right? I'm going to mess up on orders. I've messed up on a couple of orders for guys that are on this right now, where we had a miscommunication. Maybe they ordered through Messenger or something like that, right? And didn't go through the website, to where I wrote down the wrong thing and shipped them those baits. Well, so from a consumer standpoint, what would I want done for me to make that right? I ordered what I ordered. You shipped me some of that and then some of something else. My expectation as a consumer is, number one, I'm not going to pay for the wrong product. And number two, I'm not going to pay for new product being shipped out. But that's not the case. Like, a lot of companies will be like, well, you have to repay for shipping, or you have to pay for these new because you have a product that you didn't order. Well, okay, if the order's not correct, it's a miscommunication. And a miscommunication is always on the business owner for the first time, when it's the first time. Now, if you're a scam artist and you just like to tell people, hey, I didn't order this and you need to make me this so you can get double the order. Well, I as a business owner, you keep records of that kind of stuff, right? But the first one is always on me. Always assume, as a business owner, you are at fault first. Never the customer at fault, because I think we get into this habit as just people where the initial reaction is it's somebody else's fault. It's somebody else's fault, right? Point to the one, and we don't want to take blame, because blame means that we failed, and nobody wants to think that they failed. But if, as a business owner, if you're setting yourself up for customer service and you want to be known for customer service, if there is a mess up on an order, on a communication, or whatever, take the blame as the business owner. Make it right for that customer. If I have to eat $7 in shipping charges and take 4 hours to remake some baits because I wrote something down wrong, that's absolutely what I'm going to do. If anybody, I've said it multiple times, I've not had anybody take me up on it yet, but if anybody is unhappy with baits that they've purchased from me, like, you get the pack and you're like, yeah, that color's just not what I thought it was, get back with me and I will remake that to try to get closer to your specs. Like, I don't want you to have a bag of my baits with my name on it that you're not happy with. And that's what I hope that business owners that care about customer service, I hope that that's what they strive for. I don't want my name on something you're not happy with.
Yeah.
I want you to be so happy, you're going to go tell everybody you know, hey, check this out.
I am seeing some drop frame rates. So guys out there watching on the Facebook feed, thanks for hanging out with us, and I appreciate it. I don't know why this is happening, but it is. I had one of the reasons I thought about this, Chris, and hit you up with it. I think yesterday or this morning. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think I send you a message and I go look and I'm like, oh, I didn't send it. But in the last month and a half, I've ordered a couple things. One I ordered through a Facebook ad for a it was a reputable company that was using Facebook ads. I saw something that I needed there. I ordered it. I waited for 3 days. Didn't see anything, any communications via email, nothing from them. So I sent them a message, and they got back to me within 12 to 24 hours. I can't remember. It was like the next morning, and said, "Oh, there's been a disconnect from our Facebook advertising to our whatever department that monitors that for their purchasing and shipping." So they jumped right on it and they got it out in the mail. So a week later I got it. So that was acceptable. I just that's just one of those things I wanted to talk to people about was when you order something, when you order something from somebody and you don't get a confirmation email within pretty reasonable time, you need to check into it, especially when they've got your money. And save all your receipts and pay for things via PayPal where you got confirmation numbers or something like that. The other thing was it was an order that I had back in March that I made, and I got a UPS label created. And I watched that label. It was created on a Monday afternoon. Watched it on Tuesday. Watched it on Wednesday. Watched it on Thursday. Still nothing about retrieving or picking up or to be shipped. So I reached out to the company, and more than 24 hours later, I got a response.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we're sorry. We don't have what you ordered in stock. Would you take this, or this? And I'm like, well, why didn't I get a email, or why didn't you reach out to me and say, hey, we got your order, but unfortunately we didn't fix our website. Would you take something in replace of it? So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take that item in replace of this, but I need it in 3 days because I ordered that almost 10 days ago, and now it's well, it ships. Guess when it arrives? The day after I needed it, and I was gone. And one of the aggravating things was I drove by that company's headquarters within an hour, and in my communications with them, I'm like, hey, is there any way that maybe I could arrange a pickup? And the response was, we've already created a shipping label. It's like they've already paid.
Kill it.
Yeah, they've already paid. I don't know anything about it, how it works, if they've paid UPS.
Yeah.
So
you've already paid for it. They paid for a shipping label, but still, they had already screwed up on your order. I had a similar situation with an online vendor that was in limbo, and I ended up canceling a $1,200 order with them because of it. Yeah, you're telling me that you couldn't have just made it right, and you wanted to fuss over a shipping label? You could have created 2 shipping labels, but instead of spending $24 to ship some stuff, instead of the $12 that you originally wanted to, you lost a $1,200 sale. So, kick rocks. I won't buy anything from you again.
Yeah.
Because I'm petty like that. I am petty like that, and I think that's what drives me with, with my customers is I don't want anybody out there to have bad words in their mouth about my stuff. If they have bad things to say about it, I want them to tell me to my face or through my email or on a phone call or something, so I can make it better and make it right. But some companies that are out there, man, they're playing the volume game. And they sell enough, and they don't really care. They don't care about you, and so it's hard to find different vendors sometimes because they might be the cheapest. But it's it's one of those things that I will drive 2.5 hours and pay cash for something if that's the better place to buy it from.
Yeah.
I'll just do that because I don't want to deal with an anonymous online website, even if your name is well known, right? Like, I trust Amazon that if they say it's going to be here in 3 days, it's probably going to be here in 3 days. I don't trust abcd123.com. Like, I don't know who the crap that is. And yeah, you've got a good price on it, but are you doing some kind of bait and switch where you're going to send me last year's model instead of this year's model, even though your picture has this year's model? Or, that's the thing you got to really watch out for, is looking at serial numbers and model numbers and take screenshots, because the clever companies will take that stuff down. Like, they'll have a quota of the number of items that they'll get or whatever, and then they will go in and they will switch out. It's a bait and switch. And that's how you get those so cheap. So, usually if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Like,
Yeah.
It's just not worth the hassle. So, reputable businesses, they build everything around customer service. There are 2 kayak shops, after ACK sold out and got bought by an online Chinese importer of kayaks and other things. Everybody was like, well, where do we go now? Well, do you know who came up? Mariner Sales in Dallas, because of their customer service, and TG Canoe and Kayak because of their customer service. Because people who are their customers know those owners and love those owners.
Right.
Right? You're not always the cheapest necessarily. A lot of that's map pricing anyway. But you're going to get a world-class experience whether you're in TG or you're in Mariner, depending on what you're buying, right? Or where you're located, because they're about 4 hours apart. But you're going to get an experience from an owner who's in the shop every day, who doesn't live abroad somewhere and is just trying to rake in money on internet sales. Like, these are people who specialize in paddle sports, who know their business, and if something's not right, they want to make it right. Like, it hurts them to have an idea of somebody out there in the universe that thinks that they don't offer a world-class experience.
Right.
Like, it hurts them. And so they strive to make sure everybody is taken care of. Everybody is a king or queen when they walk in those shops.
Excellent. Hey, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about 15 more minutes about how to handle something when you're not happy.
Payne Outdoors, straight talk, an outdoor product analyst and custom soft plastic maker. Check out our reviews and products at our website, payneoutdoors.com.
Feel Free Kayaks, something for everyone. Pedal, paddle, or power, we can outfit you to meet your needs. For more information, visit feelfreeus.com.
Wvka offers all kinds of kayak accessories such as motor mounts, anchor systems, and other track-based items to make your time more enjoyable on the water. Visit their Facebook page, search Wvka.
Guggen Brothers Custom Tackle specializes in jigs and Ned-style lures. Brothers who know what it takes to put fish in the boat. Check out their Facebook page. Search Guggen Brothers.
All right, guys, we're back. Thanks for tuning in. We've spent 35 minutes talking about the new Black Pack and customer service. We went over quickly the West Virginia Kayak Anglers event coming up this Saturday at Summersville. If you have any questions about that, if you want to fish, contact me and I'd be more than happy to fill you in. We're going to be meeting for our captain's meeting Friday night at the Tractor Bar, which is our host. We've had our Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing podcast there before, and I do plan on taking all my equipment, set up there, and do a live feed from the results on Saturday evening. So make sure you watch for that Saturday evening, probably between 5 and 6 p.m. We got Chris Payne here in the background. He's in the man kitchen making some baits. As you can hear all of his molds kicking and clanking, and you can see the steam flying. But the questions and things that we've been talking about here are customer service. Now, a lot of the companies that we all buy things from have Facebook group pages. And if you buy something from, let's say, ABC 123, and you get something that it did not meet your expectations, you are not happy with it, are you, as a consumer, going to go to their ABC group page and blast it and tell them that they are rotten to the core for what you got? And is that the proper way to handle things? So, Chris, that's a little segue into my thoughts and trying to lead you like a horse to water to comment on something like that.
Yeah, so I see that a lot, and I think there's different scenarios where this plays out, right? It's going to be pretty rare for me personally to blast somebody publicly. Like, you have to do something just absolutely egregious for me to just hammer you in public. I guess the thing that bothers me the most are people that go immediately to an owner's group page or their public profile page or whatever, and they don't give the business an opportunity to make it right. The public idea that everyone should be perfect every time is not an attainable goal. If you do enough business, you're going to have loss. You're going to mess up on something. Maybe it's a guy in the warehouse puts the wrong address on something, or maybe it's, the dumb guy pouring baits poured the wrong color for you, because watermelon fire and green pumpkin pepper often get confused. But I guess the thing about that bothers me is it's used almost as a weapon to try to make it right.
Yeah. Yes.
But if you have already done damage to the company, like if you've already spewed your vile words, what onus does the company have to try to make it right? Because you can't take that back.
No, the internet's forever.
Right. The damage is already done. Like, if they're, I don't know what KBF has, 25,000 people in that group, or 40,000, or I don't even know what the number is.
47,000 last I looked.
47,000. Great. So if you tell 47,000 people who are in the hook and bullet industry that ABC company sucks because they took your money and didn't deliver on the product, and then when they did deliver it, it was completely wrong, and how they don't care about their customers and they don't pay attention, and they must just be loving getting all your money and getting rich on people, all the vile things that people say. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't undo that, because there are probably 20,000 people in that group who haven't heard of ABC company, and their first impression is someone saying that they're a bunch of idiots and they don't know what's going on. And even if that company makes it right and you go back and you delete the post, that there's no guarantee that anybody's going to see that. Or now, at best, you're wishy-washy. you've provided two different opinions. And so can it even be trusted?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, that's a good point, because I've seen people blast the companies that I'm pro staff with, and they'll go on there and they'll, I mean, it's something so silly like, I don't like how close the pedals are together, or the seat doesn't feel the way I thought it would. But one, sounds like you didn't test the product. Two, before you spend that kind of money on something, check with your friends to see if you can test what they have, or go to a local retailer. And the other thing that bothers me, that I constantly see, is that if I buy something, now you have Payne Outdoors, I don't know if you still do or not, but you supply a store called RPG, or used to, or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm in RPG and I spend $50 with RPG on Payne Outdoors baits, and I go home and my Payne Outdoors baits are cracked, broken, and brittle, or something, which is never the case. Right. This is all people. I'm just using this as an
example.
As an example. Do I call Payne Outdoors? No. I go to the person I bought it from. I spent my money with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, hey, here's what I bought. They're hard. Something's wrong with them. Can I get them replaced? And you work with them. You don't go to the company that made them, because something could have happened when they left your store to go to that company. They could have done something to it, or they failed to store them properly to make sure that they still met the standards to where the baits could be fresh. Or they could have freeze dried them or froze them for 3 weeks and then brought them in, and that ruined the plastic or something. I mean, so you have to work. The point of what I'm saying here, folks, is when you buy a product from a retailer who's a supplier of something, that's who you go through first. That's who you make your attempts to, because if they don't meet your needs or satisfy your complaint, then you go to the company, you provide them with the information about them, and see what they will do. Sometimes they may try to make it right because they want you to buy their product too. Sometimes they won't, because they may say, hey, you need to work with them because they're the ones that took your money. So I mean, it's all on how it's presented. So.
Yeah, and I think there's a key to that, right? So as a business owner, if you're manufacturing baits or boats or whatever you're making, right, you need to have a good relationship with whoever is selling your stuff, to where they feel confident that if they make it right at the local level, you will make it right on their product level, right? So that they don't have to rebuy the stuff. So if I have 5 bags of baits that get purchased at one of my retailers, and the customer comes back and complains to the retailer, right? And they're like, hey, these things are really hard, or they smell like, coffee and I wanted garlic, or whatever, and the bag's mislabeled, or whatever, right?
Right.
I want that retailer to feel confident that they can either give them 5 different ones that meet what they want, or they can refund their money, and I will replace those bags of baits in the amount of money that retailer is out. And so that means that now I'm replacing more baits than were lost, right? So I'm making them whole on the baits and on their profit, right? On their 40 points or whatever it is that they're marking it up.
Yeah, their margins. Yeah.
Right. And so, if they're making, if there's, well, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on that, but I need to make my retailers whole so that they feel comfortable taking care of it at their level. If it does come to me, I'll always make it right. Right? That doesn't happen with every company. They don't have the bandwidth to do that. But like if something bubbles up to me and somebody's not happy with something, I'll make it right just to make it right, because at the end of the day, it's my name on the product, right? And then I'll talk to those retailers and be like, hey, did Johnny come and talk to you? And they're like, yeah, we couldn't do it, or we didn't want to do this. And I'm like, okay, so we need to have a discussion. If there are issues with my baits, I'm going to make it right for you and make it profitable for you, so that you're not losing that. Because if you refund a $20 purchase, you're going to get $20 worth of buyback at wholesale, and then you're going to be able to turn that into more profit. I'm going to protect your profit margin for you off of any kind of refunds, and not just do product for product. I'm going to make your dollars whole.
And that's scratching backs. It's working with each other, because you don't want them to turn around and say, we're not going to use your stuff anymore, because then you lose the sale.
Yep.
So outstanding. Well, bro, final closing thoughts. Customer service, communication is key. What do you think?
I think you take care of people, they'll take care of you.
I agree. And folks, don't jump the gun to go bash something.
Yep.
Even just because you don't like it doesn't mean there's something wrong with the product. Just because you got size 17 feet, or you're 6'6", and you can't use something to meet your needs, doesn't mean that the product is bad. If the plastic is mislabeled, if it should be green pumpkin and it's got black pepper, hey, anyway.
Yep.
Guys, gals, thanks, Chris. God bless you. Anything you want to talk about next week, let me know, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right.
Will do.
Hey, guys, appreciate you guys sticking with us tonight. I really don't know what we had going on here with Discord, but or if it was Facebook feed or what, but thank you for hanging out with us. I don't know if I have got some alerts that said there's some drop frame rates detected, but I really don't know why. So, but we're going to go ahead and sign off. I will go back and look at this episode, see how it looks, and if I need to, I will upload a fresh feed with no lag, so you guys can go back and look at it when you have time. For all you folks out there that have jumped in, Kyle, Greg, Garrett, Jonathan, Randy, Greg, Marshall, Rick, appreciate you. Y'all have a great night. And if you're not doing anything, I'm going to reboot my system, work on it here in the next half hour, and then hopefully we do a feel-free broadcast with some brand new information on this coming out with feel-free kayaks. So tune in, 8 p.m.